Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Pull List Show. This week, I wasn't able to get my pull super early, so here we are a little bit later in the week. But once again, thanks for joining me. Hey, everybody that's watching live. Hey, Lloyd, how are you? Yes, we love Steph here. I don't know if she reads comics, but we should get her to read some for sure. So today, I have quite a few things on my poll. A few things that I wasn't expecting to pick up, or actually, no. You know what? Everything I got is exactly from my poll. I don't think I got. I think I only got one extra comic that I wasn't planning on. Um, so let's go through that stuff. Let me bring on the comic book cam. Boom, which already has the first item there. Um, so this book, we'll start with the independent books because I think that's the one I got the least of this week. This book was recommended to me by my buddy Mike from the I Read Comic Books podcast. Time After Time Before Time by Declan Shalvey, Rory McInville, with Joe Palmer on art. And I believe this is the John Paulion variant, if I'm not mistaken. Here, yeah, I believe so. I'm trying to find, yeah, John Paulion's variant, which is amazing. It's beautiful. There are not enough nice things I can say about John Paulion. If you keep up with the news, you would have heard that, unfortunately, earlier in this month, we lost John Paulion. He's an amazing artist, and I'm really glad I was able to pick up this cover for some of his work. So yeah, go find some of his stuff. I recommend, if you want to read some stuff that came out recently, Batman Creature of the Night is something I really recommend. But yeah, this book, I haven't read it. I haven't read much stuff this week. Actually, my plan is after doing the show, I'll go read a bunch of stuff because I got to prepare for the show tomorrow. And obviously, as you guys know, we do that stuff, a lot of that stuff the night before. Especially, I haven't had a chance to read comics. I have been doing some other stuff. But yeah, our next book here from Boom Studios, Seven Secrets. This book is by Tom Taylor, Danielle Di Niccolo, and Walter Viamonte. This is number 8. This book has a really cool. It's been building a really cool world where these 7 secrets have to be kept apart. I don't want to go too much into detail because it will go into spoilers, but Tom Taylor is one of my favorite writers currently, so I'm picking up pretty much everything that he's putting out. So next up, yeah, look at that. I don't know that the camera does it justice here. Let me try something. A little bit more. Yeah, there you go. You catch the foil. So this is Buffy number 25. This is one of the books I was not expecting to pick up this week, but as you guys know, I am a sucker for foil variants, and Boom's been doing a lot of these covers. So yeah, I'm just picking them up, having fun with whatever. I don't know that they're like they're pretty easy to get, so I don't know that they're part of the speculator market or anything. I just really like the quality and the covers that they've been putting out. I love Buffy. I love the stuff that Boom's doing with Buffy. I'm a little behind on all their series. Angel and Willow. Willow had a mini series. But yeah, go check it out. And then if you find some of these at your store, let me know down below which foil variants you're picking up from Boom. Our next book from Valiant. I think this is the only Valiant comic I'm picking up at the moment. Savage number 4. Let me get the credits here. This is written by Max Bemis with Nate Stockman on art. This book is a lot of fun. It's definitely way different than, and I probably said this before in the other poll list when I pulled it when we talked about Savage last time. It's very different from the first iteration of the Savage comic, but it's entertaining. It's an entertaining series. I know it's a mini series, so I know there's not like a big long term commitment. Actually, based on this is the last issue, so I need to catch up and figure out how this book ends. I'm gonna skip this one. Next up, another comic book that I've been picking up and I'm very fond of, Carmen #3. This book is weird. This book is beautiful looking. Guillaume March's art is amazing. It does touch on some adult themes, and the art too. Like there's nudity in the book and all that. So, I wouldn't recommend this for kids or anything like that. Which kind of leads me to the next one. I picked up this variant of Carmen #1 at the store because I saw it and it looked really cool. Obviously, it's also adult theme, but I just really like the art. Like, there's a lot going on in the story that I don't want to go into spoilers, but this cover just kind of captures it perfectly, and so I was really drawn to that. So yeah, that's all the independent books. We'll finish up with the more adult centric books. Oh, it's not the. Oh, sorry, it's not. Actually, the last book from Bad Idea Comics, Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, Caligula's Safe. This is a Bad Idea book. This book was announced on April 1st, but they made it very clear that it was not a joke. The gimmick, because Bad Idea is all about these gimmicks, and that's kind of how they're promoting all their books. You can only buy this book that day, that Wednesday, this past Wednesday. You could only buy it then. The book was only $1. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. I had no difficulties finding the book, but I did go on Wednesday just to make sure, because I believe the comic shops are supposed to send back whatever they don't sell back to Bad Idea or whatever. So yeah, it's weird to put so many rules around a comic book, but I guess as long as it's working for them, whatever. I haven't read it. I'll probably read it before tomorrow's show, so stay tuned to see how that goes. Next up, we are talking about some Marvel books. Silk. I'm still picking up Silk. I'm gonna pick up the rest of the. I believe this is also a mini series, or at least I don't think it's an ongoing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this book. I've talked about it before, so we're not gonna go too much into details. What we are going to talk a little bit more about, and I wish I had read this one before the stream. X Corp #1. This is another one of the X-Men books that we are getting now. There are so many X-Men books happening right now, but I'm picking up pretty much everything. So this is written by Tini Howard, with Alberto Foce on art and Sunny Go and colors. This is kind of like the business book, which is a weird thing to say. It's the business book for the X-Men. Let's see here. The solicit. Mankind is safe in Krakoa as the reign of X continues. What are the wants of the mutant who have everything? Leading the charge is X Corporation, headed by CXO, Monet St. Croix, Warren Worthington, a duo of cutthroat, ruthless in the boardroom as they are on the battlefield. And if you've read those characters, you know how business savvy both of them are. So yeah, this is interesting. I really like books, or I like X-Men books that are not about like just X-Men fighting and kicking butt. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. One of the reasons I really enjoyed Powers of X was because it had a good Powers of 10. No, 10 of Swords, sorry. One of the reasons I enjoyed 10 of Swords so much was because it was a good mix of actual fighting competition, but also like those quiet moments in between the fighting. Uh, some of the best issues that the X-Men have is when the issue starts when they're playing baseball. That's just a classic trope, and that's kind of like, it's going to be a good one if the X-Men are playing baseball. Next up, from Marvel, as part of the Star Wars line, the High Republic books continue. This is High Republic number 5. There's not a lot to say on this one. I'm also behind, but I'm going to keep it. I pick up every Star Wars book anyways. So this is something that I'm just waiting for number 6 to drop so I can actually catch up. This is written by Kevin Scott with pencils by Ariel Anidito, inks by Mark Morales, and colors by Annalisa Leone. So yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan and you want something new, fresh, I recommend all the High Republic stuff, not just the comics but the books. This one's one of the books I've been waiting on for a while. One, because the creative team on it, and mainly I'm not trying to diminish the artist's work, but mainly the writer. So anybody that listens to Fab and Beyond, or formerly known as Fab and Batman, it's the Kevin Smith podcast with Mark Bernardin, and Mark Bernardin is actually the writer of this book. Peter Parker, the Amazing Shutterbug. It's one of the Heroes Reborn tie-ins. So pretty much this is like, what if Peter Parker doesn't have any powers, but he does work at the Daily Bugle as a photographer, and is the biggest fan of Hyperion in the world. Who does that remind you guys of? Maybe Hyperion is the Superman analog in Marvel, and who's Superman's photographer? You guys put that together. I'm not saying Marvel's just writing DC characters, but Heroes Reborn is just Marvel writing DC characters. But I'm all for that. I love DC Comics anyways. I love whatever Jason Aaron is doing. It's been pretty interesting. And I've read some of Mark Bernardin's comics in the past. They're very good, so I expect this to be really cool as well. It's an interesting premise just to see the behind the scenes of like that world that they've set up in Heroes Reborn. It definitely adds layers to the story. All right, next up. If you remember from the last time, the War of the Bounty Hunters has started. This is another prelude. So War of the Bounty Hunters will kind of touch on every Star Wars book that's going on right now. So if you're not buying all the Star Wars book, you can either wait till it's all collected, you can wait till they're all out on Marvel Unlimited, or like me, you could just buy every Star Wars book to get the full story. It's unfortunate, but Marvel, that's one of their ways they do. That's how they get you to buy comics, by putting all the cool stuff in all the comics. Next up, Children of the Atom, number 3, by Vita Ayala, Paco Medina, and David Curiel on colors. So I've only read number 1 of this, but it was very well set up. It was a really interesting take on a new team of teen superheroes that are mutants. Obviously, as you can see from their costumes, they're trying to emulate the X-Men, but there are definitely they're based out of New York as opposed to Krakoa, because of complications that I don't want to spoil. I love Vita Ayala's work. Their writing is amazing in all the books that I'm picking up. New Mutants, super strong. The stuff they did on Valiant with I believe it was Livewire, super strong work. So yeah, Vita Ayala, top notch. Go pick up more X-Men books. All right. Obviously, I had to pick up the event that's currently ongoing. This is Heroes Reborn number 2. Once again, if you're not familiar with the premise of Heroes Reborn, it's pretty much, what if the Avengers never existed, and the superheroes on the normal 616 universe, which I guess this might be another version of this might not be 616, but we haven't really dove into all that stuff. What if the Squadron Supreme, which is, like I've mentioned, the analogs for the Justice League in the Marvel world, what if they were the only heroes available, and they were actually the heroes that protected America? Written by Jason Aaron, pencils by Ed McGuinness, Also, pencils by Dale Kwan. And we have inks by Scott Hanna and Mark Morales. There's like 10 people working on this book because it's 40 pages. So you get the normal story with 22 pages, and then you get a little back matter story. So far, it's so good. I mean, you guys know I'm a sucker for events, so I'm going to read them all. Next up, X Factor by Leah Williams, written by Leah Williams, with art by David Valdion, Israel Silva, and Joe Carmagna on letters. I don't know how this book. So if you guys are keeping up with X-Men news, you may know now that. Oh geez, I forget. I just forgot her name completely. What a Polaris. Polaris won the election. She has been voted to be on the X-Men team. They revealed the cover. So I don't know what's going to happen to her on this team. I really like Polaris on this book. I really like the team overall. So yeah, go check this one out. These guys solve crimes. When an X-Men dies. Yeah, thanks, Mike Polaris. I just saw you jumped on the chat. I hope X Factor doesn't get, well, I don't know. Some books need to get canceled so they could put out more X-Men books. But yeah, the X Factor is pretty much in charge. Not that the X-Men are immortal, because they can kind of bring themselves back to life through X-Men shenanigans. They need to be verified that people are dead, and this is a team that does that. Last time I checked, they were in the Mojoverse. Based on this cover, we're still in the Mojoverse. I'm a little behind. So yeah, this is insane. Leah Williams really gets these characters, or at least the way she writes them, I really appreciate. So this is my last Marvel book. So now we'll move on to some DC comics. And then we have a special treat at the end. First up, we have Rorschach number 8. This is the maxi series by Tom King, Jorge Fornes, and Dave Stewart, which follows a new Rorschach. This is in canon with the Watchmen universe. So another book that I'm behind on, but this is from DC Black Label, so you know it's a little bit more mature. But I really enjoy Tom King's writing. It's kind of like very melancholy and sad, but we make the joke that, it's like The Question but sad, or like, it's Batman but sad whenever Tom King's writing a book. But I enjoy that sometimes. Like sometimes I don't need all my comics to have, I want some of my comics to have happy endings and happy things happening on them. But for Rorschach, I think Tom King, that's the mood that really fits. Next up, Batman the Detective number 2. This one actually sold out on my store. I had to get the B cover. I don't normally get that one because I like to have just a continuity in my covers. Unless if I want to get a variant, I'll just buy an extra book. But I like having all the main covers. But anyways, this book, it's by Tom Taylor and Andy Kubert with Brad Anderson on colors. This book is following somebody is attacking Knight and Squire in England, so Batman has to go check it out, because if you remember back in Batman Incorporated, Batman and Squire were part of Batman Inc. as the UK representatives of Batman Incorporated. It's a whole mess. Grant Morrison wrote that, so blame them for that. But yeah, super, super interesting. And I like the way Tom Taylor's writing Batman, because this is really a detective story. That's why it's called Batman the Detective. It's not just like Batman, punching and having things on his belt to figure things out. It's more like who is behind all this stuff. So this is on my queue to read tonight. So if you want to listen to my thoughts on this, come back tomorrow morning when we're doing our live show. And I'll talk more about this. Next up, The Joker, number 3. This is by James Tynion, Guillaume March, who is the artist on Carmen from earlier, and Adrian Prianto in colors. This book is, as we left off in number 1, Commissioner Gordon has been kind of set out to hunt down the Joker and take him out post the events of what's the story that just Joker War, where Joker tried to steal Bruce Wayne's money. It's a whole mess. I was a guest on the I Read Comic Books podcast, so go find that. I'll try to put the link on the episode in the description after this, because I went through the whole Joker War summary with Mike and Nick, who were hosting that day. So yeah, it was really funny to listen to myself back, just trying to explain all this nonsense that was Joker War. Next up, actually, let me do this one first. Batman Urban Legends #3. This is the current Batman anthology book. So it's got a lot of writers on it. This cover is by John Romita Jr. I've been having mixed feelings about John Romita art at the moment, and we're getting some stuff with John Romita for the trial of Magneto coming up in the X-Men solicits. But I'm always happy with this Batman, like overall. So yeah, this is a really cool book. I think it has like 6 stories in it. This one has 4 stories in it. One's by Chip Zdarsky, one's by Che Grayson, Brandon Thomas on the third one, and Matthew Rosenberg finishing out his Grifter story. So yeah, if you like anthologies, this is a really good book. Just for that. Okay, before I go to the main event for DC, which is really my pick of the week, Future State Gotham. So, as you guys know, at the beginning of the year, DC Comics did Futures End, which was their event where they kind of took all these what if stories. Now, this one, I don't know exactly what it's about, because all the books that I was reading for Future State kind of wrapped up their own stories, but they did set up a world where Gotham is in this kind of police state. So I'm curious to see if this series is gonna kind of pick that up, like just all those threads that were left in the Dark Detective, and then the next Batman, like all those books that were Gotham related. I don't know if this will explore more of that. I know there's a Batman Second Son digital series. This one's by Joshua Williamson and Dennis Clover in writing. Actually, there's 3 writers. Joshua Williamson, Dennis Clover, and Katsuri Otomo. I wonder if this is more of an anthology title too. I haven't read it. As you guys can see, I really prepared for this show. Oh, that's cool. It's been black and white. It's almost like reading manga, but the other way around. Yeah, I'll try to read this too sometime before, maybe not before tomorrow, but I'll come back and give you guys a report on this book. All right, next, my real pick of the week. And I'm not through, but I have read a lot because it's 100 pages long, so it's a lot to read. DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Superhero Celebration, 100-page special. This has like eight different stories. I believe it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 10 stories, featuring not only Asian superheroes in the DC Comics universe, but also a lot of different Asian creators. So I'm like, as this book came out, I was impressed by how many Asian characters are in the DC universe, but also how malleable they are, as opposed to like when it comes to like setting up their stories. There's so much that can be done with these characters. So I'm really happy that DC's highlighting a lot of these characters. They're actually introducing a new character too, named the Monkey Prince. You might have seen it on the thumbnail for the show. I wasn't able to get that variant cover, unfortunately, and I haven't gotten to that story. I think it's the last story. But yeah, This is really good. It is $10. This book is $10. Luckily, at my shop, I get a discount for having a pull list. So you might want to check your store because a lot of stores do some kind of discount when you have a pull list to try to offset some of that cost. But the reason I need the discount is because I had to pick up this variant for the Festival of Heroes book of Cassandra Cain Batgirl by Archer. One of my, I love this character and I love Archer's art, so it was kind of a no-brainer. Like I said, I couldn't pick up the other variant uh, for the Monkey Prince design because that one was a 1 in 25, so neither of my stores had it. And if they had it, maybe I just missed it. I went there a little late after work on Wednesday. But yeah, that's all the comic books I have. Before we head out, though, before we leave, um, I did get to go out and I did a little shopping. And every time I go out to a different place, if you guys are familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I went to a place called South Lake, which is it has a lot of stores and really nice outdoor stuff. So it's nice to just kind of walk around through the shopping center. But they have this giant Barnes and Noble, and I've been going through a lot of Barnes and Noble because I'm picking up manga. So I finally found the volume 1 of Black Clover. So as I mentioned in my one of the previous videos, all the I don't think I'll ever be able to collect, like, go back and collect all the manga I want or that I've read. So what I'm doing instead, I'm just kind of hunting down volume 1s of the things I've read or watched, or both. So Black Clover is something that I'm currently watching. So this is just kind of how I want to keep track of all the anime. Yeah, this one's really. Wait till you see the last one, Mike. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So yeah, I love going to Barnes and Noble and just I know I can buy all these things online, but that kind of defeats the purpose of me going out and actually looking for these things. I don't need them in a hurry because all these volume 1s are pretty easily available. They're just like they don't print them out as often, but they do reprint all this stuff, so I'm not too worried about not finding it. Next up, I found volume 1 of Parasite. I love Parasite. Parasite is such a cool. It's kind of like a horror thriller manga. You can watch the anime. It's only like 26 episodes too if you don't want to go sit down and read it. But it's really good. There's a lot of body transformations and everything. Very interesting. But the one I was really happy to find today, because I haven't been able to find it in any of the stores I've been to. And I know it's not super hard to get because I checked online. It's not super expensive to get. But I finally found myself My Hero Academia Volume 1. One of my current favorite things that I'm both reading and watching. Season 5 is going on right now on Funimation. I've been to maybe like 5 or 6 stores. And I even went to, what's the name of the store? Hold on. Kino Books. They have such a great selection, but the volume 1 of this, it was hard to get. I went to a bunch of places. I did. Yeah, very happy, Mike. So the only one I'm looking for now, I'm looking for a few things still. But the ones that I know are going to be hard to find is volume 1 of Bleach, but I want the original Takoban, not the one that collects a bunch of things. And then Chainsaw Man volume 1. Those are, Kinokuniya. I think those two, Bleach and Chainsaw Man, are going to be a little bit tougher to find, I think. But I don't have any like deadline for this. I'm not in a hurry to get all this stuff. So that's all the stuff I picked up for this week. I want to thank Lloyd for joining earlier, Mike, my buddy, for hanging out in the comments. Go check out Mike's podcast, I Read Comic Books podcast. Not only because he's had me as a guest, but because it's a really cool podcast. They are all over the place, but they cover everything as far as comic books. Yeah, until they do the reprint, which, like I said, I'm not in a hurry, but it's fine. Chainsaw Man is really cool too, so it's definitely worth the wait. Um, but as far as the next issue podcast, first of all, we're very close to 125 subscribers, so I really appreciate everybody that's subscribed and keeps watching the videos. We have a few cool things coming up this weekend. I watch Army of the Dead, so there's going to be a review for Army of the Dead on Monday before it comes out on Netflix. I'll do both non-spoiler and spoiler. Also, Spiral from the Book of Saw, the new Chris Rock, Sam Jackson movie that takes place in the Saw universe. It's it's insane. Um, so there's a review for that coming up. Tomorrow we are doing our live show, barring any unforeseen events. We've had to cancel the last one just because of issues, and it was Mother's Day last weekend. I don't want to take my co-host away from doing whatever they need to do to celebrate that. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. We have, like I said, we have more cool stuff. Hopefully, I'll have somebody join me for those reviews. I'm working on that. And then, as far as manga related stuff, um, I'm planning of having a new series of videos where I just kind of talk about the first volume. Since I'm collecting all these first volumes, I want to talk about just the first volume of a manga because I feel like that's a good way to introduce people to the media. And then kind of like all these ones that I've read, all the ones that I'm picking up. So I may need some help from manga experts. So, hint, hint to anybody that may be watching at the moment. So yeah, we'll be working on some of that stuff. As always, more whenever we have some breaking news, like we did for Masters of the Universe or the Dragon Ball Z movie. And then we'll do more trailer stuff. But if you want to watch anything else, yeah, right, yeah. I'm lucky I know of a bunch of people that read manga, so I shouldn't have problem having people come over and talk about manga. But anyways, thanks everyone that's watching. If you're not watching this live, leave a comment with whatever you picked up. Let me know if there's anything that I picked up that you're interested in reading. Or if there's anything you picked up that I missed that you think I should be reading or you want us to cover on the podcast. Trust me, there's not enough, like you can't twist my arm hard enough to like read more comics. So which is both a good thing and a problem for me, but I'll deal with that on my own. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please remember to share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the thumbs up. All those things kind of help other people find the channel. And we, like I said, we're growing, and I appreciate that because doing all this stuff is really fun for me, even if I only, there's sometimes videos get a lot of views, sometimes they don't. And I don't understand how that works, but I'm just going to keep making them and let people enjoy them. So thanks for watching, everyone. Y'all have a good weekend, the rest of your weekend. And remember, tune in live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central for the next episode. Next episode. Jesus. Next issue podcast live. It's been a long day. Thanks, everyone. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.